Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this council meeting of 17th of October 2023, which is being held in person at the Gallardo Community Centre, 10A Forum Way, Epping. The meeting is also being live streamed. I'm Peter Duncan, Acting Chair of Council, and I would also like to introduce my panel colleague, Administrator Christian Zara.
Good evening, everybody.
I would also like to introduce our CEO, Craig Lloyd.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chair.
I will now ask that our CEO introduce the council officers in attendance tonight.
Thank you. We have Director of Planning and Development, Emma Appleton, Director of Community Wellbeing, Agata Himalevsky, Director of Customer and Corporate Services, Sarah Renner, Director of Planning and Development, Debbie Wood, Executive Manager Strategy and Insights, Frank Joyce, Executive Manager of Public Affairs, Janine Morgan, and to my right, Executive Manager of Office and Council and CEO, Jacinta Stevens.
Good evening.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. On behalf of Council, I recognise the rich Aboriginal heritage of this country and acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wurrung clan and the Turrinurrung people as the traditional owners of lands within the City of Whittlesea. I would also like to personally acknowledge Elders past, present and emerging. I will now read our Diversity and Good Governance Statement. At the City of Whittlesea, we are proud of our diversity and the many cultures, faiths and beliefs that make up our community. We strive to be an inclusive, welcoming city that fosters active participation, well-being and connection to each other and this land. We commit as a council to making informed decisions to benefit the people of the City of Whittlesea now and into the future to support our community's vision, a place for all. We have some acknowledgements tonight, and I'll just lead off Administrator Zara with the first acknowledgement, which is that I'd just personally like to thank, on behalf of myself and Council and my fellow Administrator, the Ujar Foundation, who were here tonight, and they're a dance group, and they had 3 different groups put on a performance for us of varying age groups, and they were absolutely sensational. So thank you.
Fantastic.
Yes, thank you so much to the Ujara Foundation. And they actually practice in this very room here at Gallardo. So what a great way to start this Community Council meeting this evening. My next acknowledgement is to do with Carers Week. So this week is Careers Week, and it's an annual celebration that acknowledges the remarkable contribution across Australia that carers make each day. The City of Whittlesea celebrates the tireless efforts of all those who provide support and care to loved ones facing various challenges. This week there are a series of special events available for carers to provide the opportunity for them to meet other carers, share their experiences and connect with valuable support services. And all of the information about these events is on the whittlesea.vic.gov/Carers Week for more information. Administrator Zara, do you have any acknowledgements?
Thanks, Chair. I do. A couple to make. During the month of October, the City of Whittlesea is taking part in the Seniors Festival, a celebration recognising the contributions of seniors in our community. We're very proud to be part of this statewide initiative supported by the Victorian Government. Throughout October, senior residents can look forward to getting out, getting active and making new friends at events including free golf lessons, dance classes, movies and music. For a full schedule of events, visit whittlesea.vic.gov.au/Seniors Festival. I hope the people listening tonight get on that page and check out all those events. Another acknowledgement I'd like to make, Acting Chair, is Children's Week. In October we will also be celebrating Children's Week, which is a national celebration that recognises the talents, skills, achievements and rights of children. The City of Whittlesea has partnered with the Victorian Government and Westfield Plenty Valley to run a celebration on Wednesday the 25th of October. Children can come along and enjoy art, dance, story time, face painting and more. Details are available on the Council's website.
Thank you, Administrator Zara. I note that we have an apology from Chair of Council Lydia Wilson for this evening's meeting. Administrator Zara, if you have a conflict of interest in any item on the notice paper, you may verbally disclose the type and nature of the interest now, but you must also make a declaration immediately before consideration of the matter in question. Are there any items for which you have a conflict of interest to declare?
No, Chair.
Do officers present this evening have any conflicts of interest in any item on tonight's agenda to declare?
No, Chair.
No, Chair.
Thank you. I seek to confirm a motion for the minutes of the preceding meeting, the scheduled council meeting of council and confidential meeting of council held on 19th of September 2023, the joint council meeting between Whittlesea, Hume and Mitchell councils held on the 3rd of October 2023, and the additional meeting of council held on the 12th of October 2023. Can I have a mover?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Administrator Zara, and I will second that as well. I'll now put the matter to a vote. All those in favour confirming the minutes, thank you. I note that as of the 12th of October, we have no public questions or petitions tonight. We will now work through the agenda. The first item is item 5.1.1, Zeebles Farmhouse, Museum and Heritage Garden, and I'd like to ask Agata Himleski, Director of Community Wellbeing, to please present this item.
Thank you, Chair. This report is about the formal transition of management of Zeebles Farmhouse Heritage Museum and Garden to Council from the Friends of Westgarth Town. The Friends of Westgarth Town have done an exceptional job managing the facility on behalf of Council for almost 30 years, but a couple of years ago wrote to Council wanting to transfer the management of the facility to Council. Council officers have been working closely with the Friends to plan the transition, which we propose to begin officially from the 1st of November. So I will ask Anthony, the Manager of Active and Creative Communities, to talk to the report.
Thank you, Agata. For almost 30 years, the site has been managed on Council's behalf by the Friends of Westgarth Town. The resolution formally recognises their work and dedication to this site and our community. The report also acknowledges the Friends' ongoing role and volunteering through this service agreement before you tonight. The report before you goes into details about how Council will transition the management back to Council, appoint the Museum Director, maintain the farmhouse structure and the Heritage Garden, transfer the volunteer programs that exist at this facility, transfer the museum accreditation and the ongoing engagement with Friends of Westgarth Town. In closing, I'd like to also recognise Leon Barak for his collaboration with Council as the Friends of Westgarth Town's official representative over the last 2 years, developing this service agreement with Council officers that is before you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Administrator, do you have any questions?
I don't have any question. I think the report really speaks for itself. Thanks, Acting Chair.
Thank you. I don't have any questions either. Administrator Zara, is there anything you'd like to say about the report?
I'm happy to move the resolution,
Okay.
Acting Chair.
Thank you. And I'll second that, of course. Would you like to speak to the...
Yes, I'd be very happy to, Acting Chair. This is a great example of collaboration between the City of Whittlesea and the people who are here to serve. I really want to commend the collaborative way with which our team has worked with the Friends Group in particular. It's really important to note that, as was mentioned earlier by our officers, that in 2020 it was the Friends Group who approached us at the City of Whittlesea. So this is us being responsive to a local, well-regarded community group who felt that a change in the transition was appropriate and important at this stage. And I think it's really to the City of Whittlesea's credit that we've taken on board that request to us and been prepared to act on it. Zeebles is a much-loved community asset with an incredibly rich history. It is a treasure, a real treasure. And I think the highly collaborative way in which the Friends Group has worked with the City of Whittlesea is to the great credit, I think, of all involved. So I'm very happy to support it, Acting Chair.
Thank you, Administrator Zara. I think you've summed that up perfectly. I'd just like to say to the Friends of Westgarth Town and the Zabel Farmhouse team that manage the museum and the garden there, which is exceptional. Thank you so much for the 30 years of effort and work that you have put into this venue, and thank you for entrusting council to now take carriage of that. And I'm sure we will do them proud. And thank you to the officers as well for making this work for everyone, where it's a win-win for the whole community, and particularly to keep this legacy going for hopefully another 30 years. That's all I really wanted to say to that. So I will now put the item to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you. Item 5.2.1. 2023-46, construction of Whittlesea Public Gardens, urban and youth space, the tender evaluation. And Debbie Wood, Director of Infrastructure and Environment. And I can see you've got Adrian Napoleoni here, who's the Unit Manager, Parks Development, to present the item.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I do have Adrian here with me, and I'll hand to Adrian to go through the report for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Evening, Chair and Administrators. Whittlesea Public Gardens is located at the far western end of Barry Road in Lalor and is one of the 4 major community parks identified in the City of Whittlesea's open space strategy. After the success of Stage 1, playground redevelopment, we're excited to be entering into the next phase of construction with the award of this contract for the urban and youth space, which is considered Stage 2. The project will complement the recent playground works and will see the construction of 2 large shelters with barbecues, public furniture and drinking fountains, 2 half basketball courts, the continuation of the connecting path network with park lighting, hit-up and rock climbing wall, irrigated lawn areas, soccer goals, and a 100-metre long plaza-style skate park with multiple runs to accommodate beginners, intermediate users and advanced skaters. The project has been successful in receiving $650,000 funding through the state government's Growing Suburbs Fund program, which we are extremely grateful for. The tender submitted from Open Space Victoria was determined by the tender evaluation panel to be the best value, and it is considered that this company can perform the contract to the required standards. Once awarded, the construction works are scheduled to commence in November this year, with the completion date earmarked for mid-April 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one question. Scheduling works to start in November, which isn't far away, and completion in March next year. Was that as quick as the first tranche of this sort of development of the area? Because we've been there and it's magnificent now and it's only going to get better. Is that about the same time period it's going to take?
The previous stage took a little bit longer because it was the first batch of works, so included a lot of demolition. This batch here, we were just extending from the Stage 1 works, and it's a lot more simple, so 5 months to complete.
Fantastic, thank you. I have no further questions. Administrator Zara?
No questions from me, Chair.
Okay, great. I'm happy to move this item. Do I have a seconder?
Happy to second it, Chair.
Thank you. I don't have anything further to say, but so well done to everyone. I'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour?
In favour.
Thank you. Thank you. Item 5.3.1 is Building Blocks Partnership, the second tranche, and I'll invite Agata Kameski to come back again, Director of Community Wellbeing, to present this item.
Thank you, Chair. The state government recently announced the Best Start, Best Life kindergarten reform, which introduced free 3- and 4-year-old kindergarten for all children, as well as increasing the number of kindergarten hours for 4-year-olds from the year before school from 15 to 30 hours. And while that is a really fantastic development outcome for children, it also means that we will need a big increase in kindergarten rooms and kindergarten places to accommodate the increased demand across the municipality. Our council officers have been working closely with the Department of Education to really have a look at what that initial short-term demand looks like and make sure that we're getting on the front foot with getting those facilities ready on time for the demand to come. So I will hand over to Amelia, Manager of Children and Families, to take us through the report.
Thank you. So as Agata mentioned, over the past several years there has been a monumental investment and level of reform that recognises the importance of early childhood education and care and solidifies its importance in creating a strong foundation for lifelong learning. As has been mentioned, that includes the introduction of free kindergarten for 3 and 4-year-old children and the gradual increasing of hours. The reforms are phased in over a 10-year period, and the early planning and identification of kindergarten demand, the required infrastructure, workforce supports and other sector architecture are really important to ensure that this reform is universally accessible to all children in the City of Whittlesea. Council officers have been continuing to work on the gradual rollout of the reform, and a little over 12 months ago now, Council endorsed the first tranche of the Building Blocks Partnership, which included 2 infrastructure projects, and I'm very pleased to present this report tonight that outlines the second tranche of projects, which consist of 3 infrastructure projects. As is indicated in the report, a Building Blocks Partnership is a long-term, in-principle agreement between the Department of Education and individual councils that outlines a co-investment into infrastructure to ensure the delivery of the kindergarten reform. This is the mechanism that the Victorian Government and local government agree upon that investment. The specific project details are confidential due to the Department of Education requirements to seek approval from the Minister.
Apologies, Amelia, but you're out of time. Do you require an extension of time?
Just a very short.
So moved, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. The specific project details are confidential due to the requirements to seek ministerial approval prior to announcement, and the report before you tonight seeks the endorsement to amend the existing Memorandum of Understanding with the Department of Education to include these 3 projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have any questions?
Yes, just one, Chair. Thank you. Thanks to our officers for great work here. This is a major reform and something to be proud of, I think, in delivering. Some people will say, when will we know about those 3 additional sites? So perhaps we can try and at least give people a guide as to when we're likely to be in a position to announce that.
Sure. As we previously went through the first tranche of projects, it was announced quite soon after. We have recently had a change of Minister for Early Childhood, so we imagine it may take a little bit longer, but we would anticipate that it's this side of Christmas.
Wonderful. Thanks. No other questions from me, Acting Chair.
Thank you, and I was actually going to ask the same question, so thank you for doing that. Can I have a mover for this item, please?
Happy to move that.
And I'll second that. I'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour?
In favour.
Thank you. Thank you. Item 5.5.1, 2023 to 24 Growing Suburbs Fund, and Sarah Renner, Director of Customer and Corporate Services, will present this item.
Thank you, Chair. And this report is indeed on the 2023-2024 Growing Suburbs Fund. And I would like to introduce and welcome Amanda, our Coordinator Capital Programming and Reporting, to take us through the report.
Thank you. The 23-24 Victorian Government announced $10 million to be allocated to the Growing Suburbs Fund this year, to build facilities needing to support healthy and livable communities in our fast-growing suburbs. The funding pool has been reduced from $50 million from previous years. Applications opened on the 25th of August and close on the 20th of October this week. In line with previous year guidelines, grant funding will be targeted towards high-priority community infrastructure in growth areas. A maximum grant amount of $2 million can be requested per application. However, no more than $2 million will be allocated to a single council. Projects are required to commence within 18 months of the grant being announced and completed within 24 months of the commencement of construction. Taking the above into consideration, the following projects have been identified to best meet the grant funding objectives and criteria, with our first priority being West Wollert Community Centre, Whittlesea Public Gardens Stage 3, Regent Street Reserve at Quarry Hills and Atrium Reserve at Quarry Hills. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, Chair. I'm happy to move this.
Thank you. Neither do I. I'll put that motion to a vote. All those in favour?
In favour.
Thank you. Item 5.5.2 is the Capital Management Policy Review, and Sarah Renner, Director of Customer and Corporate Services, will also be presenting this item.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I'd also like to welcome Aaron, our Chief Financial Officer, to take us through this report.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. The purpose of this report tonight is to present an update to our capital management policy, which has now been split into two standalone policies, investment policy and borrowing policy, to ensure transparency and that capital planning and investment decisions of Council are aligned with its strategic goals and financial sustainability. These capital management policies have been developed to provide a framework to ensure Council optimises its return on investment of surplus funds while limiting unnecessary exposure to risk, ensuring prudent financial management, compliance with the Local Government Act 2020 and the protection of Council's financial stability. Responsible financial management requires a strict, transparent and sound control environment. Council recognises the importance of prudent financial management to deliver essential services, support infrastructure development and enhance the well-being of its residents. Council currently invests funds in secure, low-risk investments, whilst also sourcing borrowings to fund specific capital works projects as approved by Council through the budget process. The investment policy has been developed with reference to the relevant controls, ensuring that investment decisions are based on maximising Council's return on investment, while effective internal controls exist to minimise exposure to risk and in accordance with legislative requirements of the Local Government Act 2020. The borrowing policy has been established to provide guidance on responsible borrowing activities in alignment with relevant legislation. Loan borrowing is accepted by Council as an appropriate and responsible funding method to be applied to support Council's long-term strategic objectives and financial responsibilities. Council has no direct investment or shareholdings in any fossil fuel company or fossil fuel aligned company. Fossil fuel divestment is the conscious removal of investments in companies that are involved in fossil fuel projects such as coal or gas. The fossil fuel industry is a leading generator of
Excuse me, sorry, Aaron, you're out of time. Do you need an extension?
Yes, just a short one.
Great,
please.
thank you. Carry on.
So moved, Chair.
Thank you.
The fossil fuel industry is a leading generator of greenhouse gases, which have been attributed to negative impact on climate and our environment. I propose the recommendation as outlined in the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have questions?
No questions from me, Chair.
Neither do I. Would you like to move this item?
I'm happy to move this and reserve my right to speak, Acting Chair.
Thank you, and I'll second it. Administrator Zara?
Thank you. Acting Chair, I think it's important that we take the public opportunity to talk about why this is important. This is at the very centre, the very heart of good governance, and doing this part of the work that we do as the City of Whittlesea well enables us to do more for local ratepayers and residents. And I think that's why it's really to the credit of our team that they've taken the care and time to further build on, I think, an already good and sound set of arrangements, but to make them significantly better through this close and careful work which they've done. I guess just to be crystal clear, when we're talking about infrastructure, as we were a little bit earlier, if we do capital management and investment policy well, we'll have more money to be able to fund kindergarten infrastructure. We'll have more money to be able to support local roads. We'll have more money to be able to invest in all of the things that our local community wants, and will make a real difference to the quality of life, the amenity that people benefit from in our local district. So it is great work, and that's how it fits in. And as the administrators serving as we are at the moment in place of an elected council, it's so incredibly important that we get this as good as we possibly can to prepare for the return of elected council in only about 12 months or so. So I really support this work, Acting Chair.
Thank you, Administrator Zara, and I concur with my colleagues' comments. This is critically important to set up the City of Whittlesea, not just for next year but for years and years to come, and it's been a great piece of work, and we've been briefed on this many times, and I think the care and diligence that's been done on the investment policy and the borrowing policy are very sound, and you should be congratulated for the work you've done here, which is, as my colleague has said, will be to the benefit of all the residents in the City of Whittlesea into the future. So well done on all of that. Thank you very much. I'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour?
In favour.
Thank you. Thank you. Item 5.5.3, 2018-58 Cloud Infrastructure Services Variation. And Sarah Renner, Director of Customer and Corporate Services, will present this item.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I would like to introduce Neme, our Unit Manager, Technology, Infrastructure and Support, to briefly take us through this paper.
Thank you, Sarah. Good evening, everybody. The contract for Cloud Infrastructure as a Service has been granted to Thomas Juria, also known as Logicalis. This cloud-based services model has given City of Whittlesea competitive advantages by providing the most innovative technology available and improving not only council's IT availability, reliability and performance, but also the IT efficiencies. A contract extension until February 28, 2025, with the prospect of extension until February 28, 2029, requires a variation of $1,034,000. The contractor has demonstrated satisfactory performance, which justifies the extension request despite their competitive pricing. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. It's very comprehensively set out in the officer's report.
Thank you. I agree with that. Thank you for presenting tonight. I'm happy to move this item. Do I have a seconder?
Happy to second it, Chair.
Thank you. I don't have any commentary because it's fairly straightforward and it is all within the report in the council papers, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'll need to put it. Sorry.
I'll now put this motion to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Neme.
Item 5.5.4, the proposed discontinuance and sale of road adjourning 40 Girvan Place, South Morang, and Sarah Renner, Director of Customer and Corporate Services, will present this item.
Thank you, Chair, again. And I'd like to welcome George, our Unit Manager, Strategic Property, to briefly take us through this paper.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Chair. This report is about a request that we received, Council received, from the owners of number 40 Girvan Place in South Morang. The owners are asking Council if Council would consider the owners purchasing a small rectangular area of 116 square metres of road in front of their home. The additional area was reserved when Girvan Place was created. It was unclear at that time whether the road, the subdivision, would extend to the west or the north. And it progressed with the development progressing to the west, so the small area became obsolete. The owners agreed to pay market value for the land, which has been determined by an independent valuer at $55,000 inclusive of GST. The owners also agreed to pay Council's costs, and that is to the costs involved in running the process, which have amounted to just under $17,000. The statutory process commenced in January 2023 when submissions were requested through the public notice, but no submissions were received. So the discontinuance of the section of road and the sale of the underlying land is recommended under the report.
Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have any questions?
No questions from me, Chair.
Neither do I, thank you. I'm happy to move this item. Do I have a seconder?
Can I second it and reserve my right to speak, please,
Absolutely, thank you. I just want to speak to the item very briefly. This has been a legacy issue for quite some time, and I think this is a great result that we've achieved. And I just wanted to congratulate officers on all the work that they've done to get us to this point, and so that's very well done to everyone involved. Thank you. Administrator Zara.
Thanks, Chair. I couldn't agree more with what you've said. I think that I just really encourage people who might be listening to have a look at the report. It really does great credit to our team. Careful management, sensitively considered of what's in the public interest, and also being responsive to the need of local citizens. It is really worth putting on the record that we've gone through a public exhibition process or a version of it, and there's been no comments that have been received. So the public have had the opportunity to comment. At the same time, we've been able to respond to an individual ratepayer's request. That takes, I think, great care to navigate through that sensitively, but we've been able to produce, I think, an excellent outcome which serves the needs of local people whilst ensuring that we've served the public as well. So great credit to our team.
I'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour?
In favour.
The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5.5.5 is unconfirmed minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee, and that's Frank Joyce will be presenting this item, the Executive Manager of Strategy and Insights.
Thank you, Chair. This report provides Council with the unconfirmed minutes from the most recent Audit and Risk Committee meetings held on the 5th and the 12th of September 2023. The Audit and Risk Committee consists of 4 independent members and 2 administrators, and its purpose includes supporting and advising Council in fulfilling its responsibilities related to external financial and performance reporting, maintenance of strong and effective governance and control frameworks, the management of key risks, and Council's compliance with legislation and regulation. The Committee has a prime responsibility in overseeing and monitoring Council's various audit processes. The 5th of September 2023 Committee meeting included adopting the Committee's annual work plan, reviewing and endorsing the annual financial report and annual performance statement, and reviewing the external annual report. The 12th of September 2023 Committee meeting included considering risk management reports, a focus on data governance and disaster recovery tests and plans, a review of policies and procedures governance, and monitoring legislative compliance. The Committee also approved the strategic and annual internal audit plans, which will be undertaken by Council's newly appointed internal auditors, Pitcher Partners. I put forward the officer recommendation for Council to note the unconfirmed minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meetings held on the 5th and 12th of September 2023.
Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Do I have a mover?
I'm happy to move in that way, Chair.
Thank you. And I will second that. I'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Item 5.5.6, the Councillor Code of Conduct. And Jacinta Stevens, our Executive Manager, Office of Council and CEO, will present this item.
Thank you, Chair. The Code of Conduct has been rewritten in preparation for the return of councillors. The focus of the Code of Conduct is on the 5 standards of conduct outlined in the local government regulations. Under the Code of Conduct, councillors can only initiate formal arbitration if a councillor or group of councillors are alleged to have breached one of the 5 standards of conduct. The Code expands on the dispute resolution processes with the aim of councillors resolving their differences without formal arbitration, which can be extremely costly. The Code of Conduct includes other categories of misconduct, for example, serious and gross misconduct, bullying and sexual harassment, and how they will be addressed if a complaint is made. It also includes processes for dealing with disputes between councillors and staff and disputes between members of the public and councils. Officers are recommending Council resolve to adopt the Council Code of Conduct this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, Chair. Thank you.
Neither do I. Thank you. I'm happy to move this recommendation. Administrator Zara.
I'm happy to second it and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. I'll let you speak first, Mr. Zara.
Thank you, Administrator Duncan. Can I just say, take this public opportunity to thank our officers for their work. It is careful work and I think a significant improvement on what we've had previously. Can I just say to those people who might be tuning in at home and watching this, and to those people who are considering serving in elected roles when there are elections next year, it is a great honour to serve as a councillor. It is a great honour for myself and my colleagues to serve in place of council as administrators. I've also had the honour, as some of you know, to have served as an elected public official in the Federal Parliament. With these roles, you do get the honour of serving, but it is incumbent upon us to understand that it is also a very significant responsibility. And people expect the very highest standards of us. We have to be here to serve the public interest, not our own interest, and not any sectional interest. And many of the elements in the revised Code of Conduct really go to standards of behaviour, which in many ways are the minimum standard. We really want people to be operating at a standard beyond this and to be demonstrating best practice in their decision making. So I just urge people to really sort of deeply understand why it is that we're doing this, upgrading this policy, and that is to give the new council the very best chance of succeeding, and through succeeding serve the interests of the very good people of the City of Whittlesea, who we've, as administrators, had the great opportunity through our work to interact with and know people who are incredibly community-minded, public-spirited, and who want and reasonably should expect having a quality council which makes good decisions with the highest standards.
Thank you, Administrator Zara. I'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you. The motion is carried. I note there are no notices of motion. CEO, are there any items of urgent business?
Yes, Chair, we have one this evening. I have one item of urgent business that is confidential in nature. It relates to a private commercial information as defined under Section 3 of the Local Government Act. And as such, that matter will need to be discussed in camera. It relates to a service agreement with Whittlesea Community Connections. In accordance with the Governance Rule 19.4, this matter does not require a resolution of Council to be admitted onto the agenda.
Thank you, Craig, and we'll deal with that item when we get to the confidential section of the agenda. So thank you for raising that. We'll now present our council representative reports, and so I will just do a brief overview of what I've been up to, and then I will hand over to my colleague, Administrator Zara. I think one of the most interesting and exciting things we both attended, Administrator Zara, was the first ever joint council meeting with Hume and Mitchell regarding the Cloverton Metropolitan Activity Centre. That was the first meeting of its kind in Victoria of 3 councils coming together for the joint purpose of all of our communities because it's within that region. I also attended the Coffee with Council at Bundoora, and I also attended the WRG Whittlesea Reconciliation Group meeting. I also note that we have a copy of Chair Administrator Lydia Wilson's report, and that's been provided and will be included in the council meeting minutes after tonight. Administrator Zara, over to you.
Thanks, Administrator Duncan. You've mentioned those couple of things that we've done together, so I won't go back over those, other than to say that that Cloverton joint council meeting that we had with our colleagues and friends from Hume and Mitchell was really a night to remember. And I said that night, it's worth repeating here at this additional public opportunity, that I think it was local government at its very best. Collaborative, cooperative, and there to serve a bigger interest. That in that case, not just our own municipality, but the whole region. So that is a real moment. And there aren't too many times in government decision making where you actually get to be at the very beginning of something as big as possibly a whole new city, which in the decades ahead might be as big as 300,000 or 400,000 people. So that's pretty exciting stuff, and great credit. I just take the public opportunity again, Chair, to thank our officers for their innovation, creativity and highly collaborative way in which they worked with their interlocutors in the other municipalities.
Agree, thank you. I'll now ask the CEO to provide an update to both the Council and members of the public in attendance tonight and online.
Thank you, Chair. Monday the 16th of October was the first anniversary of the new management of the Epping Animal Facility, now called the Watjering Animal Facility. The animal facility for the past year has been successfully managed by the City of Whittlesea in partnership with Marybeck and Darebin councils. The facility is not just dogs and cats, but also rabbits, guinea pigs, birds, sheep, goats and the odd ferret as well. In July, we relaunched the facility with the new name, Watjering, which means we together in Woiwurrung language, which really encapsulates how important it is for us as a community and those in the animal care sector to work together towards the common goal of achieving positive outcomes for animals. I was delighted last week to be invited to speak at St Monica's College Year 12 graduation. It's fantastic to see the passion and drive of the young people. Look forward to seeing the things that they'll do in our municipality and beyond. The presentations that the students gave were absolutely high quality, and congratulations to all of them, and good luck for the exams for all of the Year 12 students right across the municipality that are taking place at the moment. Last week, the City of Whittlesea, in partnership with the CFA, the Whittlesea and Surrounds Fire Guard Group, the City of Whittlesea, of course, and the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, held a well-attended community session in Whittlesea. It was a great opportunity for community in our north to ensure that they're prepared for the up-and-coming summer season. And well done to all the agencies that supported that, and a big thank you to all the community members that attended. It was a very large attendance. Earlier this month, we held our 28th annual Blessing of the Fleet, where local fire and emergency services personnel attended the Civic Centre for a special multi-faith ceremony and a community event. Again, it was wonderful to see the turnout from our community to show support for the volunteers and career emergency service staff as well. The Wilton Vale Wetland project in South Morang is now complete, with temporary fences to be removed once the grass begins to grow. The project has repurposed more than 80% of the timber reclaimed from the demolished boardwalk, and that recycled timber has found a new life in fencing and seating at the site, as well as some statewide projects, including a furniture studio at Melbourne University, and also some upcycle experts at Revival in Collingwood. And finally, phase 2 of our consultation for our multi-year master plan for the WA Smith Sycamore Reserve is underway. And I'd like to encourage the community to have a look at the draft master plan that's on our website and provide their feedback, with consultation open till the end of this month. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Craig. I just have one question, and then I'll hand over to Administrator Zara if he has a question. With regards to the preparation for community for the fire season, we've obviously had the first community meetings and all of those things, and I agree it's great that all the agencies are involved as well. Will there be a continuing education, I suppose, and assistance for residents who are potentially in fire-prone areas? Will that continue on further, or is it just a one-off meeting with community?
That was a specific one-off event, but there's certainly a lot of community education that's planned, working with our partners, in particular at the CFA. There's a lot of community education to come. I understand the state government will be running a public education campaign shortly to make sure that everyone is ready. And particularly in the north there, the Whittlesea and Surrounds Fire Guard Group, they're continuing their campaign as well and working with local residents to make sure they're ready.
That's great. Thank you. Administrator Zara, do you have any questions?
No questions from me, Chair.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I note that all of these verbal reports will be documented in the minutes. Confidential business, as mentioned by the CEO during the urgent business item, there is one confidential item for discussion in camera this evening. We will shortly go into in camera in accordance with section 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act to discuss the item. That brings us to the close and end of our meeting to the public. I therefore declare the open meeting closed at 8:13 p.m. and ask that the live streaming please be ceased. The meeting will now go into in camera. Thank you.